Jake drove up the dusty road to his new farm, a steal at auction. The old place was sprawling, with fields stretching to the horizon. He'd left the city for peace, but the air felt heavy, alive. As he parked, 3 figures loomed by the barn. Tall, impossibly tall, they watched him. Women, each over 8 feet, their eyes glinting with secrets. Jake's heart raced. This wasn't in the listing. "You're Jake," the tallest called, her voice like wind through pines. She wore a woven dress, her hair a cascade of midnight. "I'm Mara." "That's Lila and Vay." The others nodded, their gazes pinning him. Jake stammered, yeah. I bought this place." Mara smiled, sharp. "We come with it." Lila, with fiery curls, chuckled. Vay, pale as moonlight, said nothing. Jake felt the ground shift under him. Inside the farmhouse, Jake dropped his bags. The women followed, ducking through the door. "We've lived here forever," Mara said, leaning close. Her breath smelled of earth and honey. "The land chose us." Jake blinked. "Chose you. It's my farm now." Lila laughed, her voice a low rumble. "The land doesn't care about deeds." Vay's eyes gleamed. "You'll see." Jake's skin prickled with unease. They led him to the fields, where crops grew impossibly lush. "We tend this," Lila said, gesturing to rows of glowing corn. Jake squinted. "Were the stalks moving?" "You're staying," Mara added, not a question. Jake protested. "I just wanted a quiet life." Vay's soft voice cut through. "You'll have one. With us." Her smile was both warm and chilling. Jake's phone had no signal. He was trapped. Night fell, and the farmhouse creaked like it was alive. Jake sat at the worn table as Mara poured tea from a kettle older than him. "Why me?" he asked. Lila grinned. "The land likes you." Jake sipped the tea, tasting herbs he couldn't name. His head spun slightly. Vay watched him, her eyes like twin moons. "Sleep here tonight," she whispered. "You'll understand." Jake's eyelids grew heavy. In his dream, the fields pulsed with light. The women stood in a circle, their forms shifting, part human, part something ancient. Mara's voice echoed. "The land binds us. Now it binds you." Jake woke, heart pounding. Moonlight spilled through the window. He heard footsteps downstairs, heavy, deliberate. The women weren't sleeping. He crept to the door, but it wouldn't budge. Locked from outside. Morning broke, and the door was open. Jake found the women in the kitchen, cooking something that smelled of spice and earth. "You slept well," Lila said, not looking up. Jake nodded, uneasy. "What's the deal here? Are you human?" Mara's laugh was deep. "Human enough. The land gives us life. You'll feel it too." Vay handed him a plate. "Eat," she said. The food hummed with strange energy. Days passed, and Jake worked the fields with them. The women were strong, tireless. Mara taught him to plant seeds that glowed faintly. Lila showed him how to coax water from dry soil. Vay sang to the crops, her voice making them sway. Jake felt stronger, too, like the land was seeping into him. But at night, he heard whispers through the walls. "Stay," they said. "You're ours." He shivered. One evening, Jake found an old journal in the attic. Its pages spoke of the farm's history, centuries of caretakers, all bound to 3 women. "They're not mortal," it read. "The land is their heart." Jake's hands shook. Were they goddesses? Spirits? He confronted Mara. "What are you?" She smiled. "We're the farm. And now, so are you." Her words felt like roots curling around his soul. Jake tried to leave. He packed a bag, started his truck. The engine died at the property line. Mara appeared, her shadow swallowing him. "You can't go," she said. "The land won't let you." Lila and Vay flanked her, their presence overwhelming. Jake's chest tightened. "I'm not your prisoner," he shouted. Vay's soft voice answered, "Not a prisoner. A partner." Her eyes held him fast. The women's care was relentless. They cooked, taught, watched. Jake felt their pull, like gravity. He noticed changes. His skin glowed faintly, his strength grew. "What's happening to me?" he asked Lila one dawn. She grinned. "The land's in you now." Vay touched his arm, her fingers cool. "You're becoming like us." Jake recoiled. Was he losing himself, or gaining something greater? At night, the fields sang. Jake heard it now, a hum that vibrated in his bones. Mara led him to a clearing where the soil shimmered. "This is the heart," she said. The women knelt, and Jake followed, drawn by instinct. The ground pulsed under his hands. "You feel it," they whispered. Jake did. It was alive, ancient, powerful. He wasn't just on the farm. He was part of it. His fear faded. Weeks turned to months. Jake stopped checking his phone. The city felt like a dream. The women were his world now. Mara's strength, Lila's fire, Vay's quiet mystery. They worked as one, tending the land. It rewarded them with impossible harvests. Neighbors bought the crops, unaware of their glow. Jake wondered if he was still human. Vay smiled when he asked. "Does it matter?" she said. One night, Mara lit a fire in the yard. The flames danced higher than natural. "The land's pleased," she said. Lila tossed herbs into the blaze, and the smoke formed shapes, faces, maybe ancestors. Vay sang, her voice weaving through the crackle. Jake felt the farm's pulse in his chest. "You're ours," Mara said, her eyes warm now. Jake nodded. He didn't want to leave anymore. The seasons shifted, but the farm stayed vibrant. Jake learned the women's rhythms, Mara's command, Lila's passion, Vay's stillness. They were the land's avatars, and he was their bridge to the world. "Why me?" he asked again. Lila laughed. "You were lonely. The land hates loneliness." Vay's hand brushed his. "You're home now." Jake's heart swelled. He was theirs, and they were his. A stranger came one day, a developer eyeing the farm. Mara's glare sent him running. "The land chooses," she growled. Jake felt it too, a surge of protectiveness. This was his home, his purpose. Lila clapped his shoulder. "You're learning." Vay's smile was proud. Jake stood taller. The farm wasn't just soil and crops. It was alive, and he was its guardian, bound to the three women forever. The journal mentioned a ritual, one to seal the bond. Jake read it under lamplight. "Blood to earth, heart to heart." He asked Mara. She nodded. "It's time." At midnight, they led him to the clearing. Lila cut her palm, then his. Their blood mixed with the soil. Vay sang, and the ground glowed. Jake felt roots in his soul. "You're ours," Mara said. He smiled. "And you're mine." The farm thrived, its crops feeding towns beyond. Jake's old life faded entirely. He was stronger, taller, his eyes brighter. The women noticed. "The land loves you," Lila teased. Vay's gaze lingered. "You're beautiful now." Jake laughed, uneasy but proud. Mara's hand rested on his. "You're complete." The farm's hum was his heartbeat. He belonged, not just to them, but to the earth itself. Winter came, but the fields stayed green. Jake marveled at the impossible. Mara explained, "The land doesn't follow seasons. It follows us." Lila built a bonfire, and they danced, shadows weaving with the flames. Vay's voice joined the wind, singing of eternity. Jake danced too, his body light, his soul heavy with purpose. The farm was his world, and the women were its queens. He was their equal. One dawn, Jake found Vay alone by the stream. "Do you ever want to leave?" he asked. Her eyes were distant. "We can't. The land is us." She touched his face. "But you, make it bearable." Jake's heart ached. Were they trapped too? Lila's laugh broke the moment. "Don't get soft, Vay," she called. Mara joined them, her presence steady. "We're enough," she said. Jake believed her. The farm's magic grew stronger. Crops glowed brighter, and animals gathered, unafraid. Jake felt the land's pulse in his sleep. Mara taught him to listen, to speak to it. "It trusts you," she said. Lila showed him how to shape the soil with a thought. Vay's songs wove protection. Jake wasn't just a farmer. He was a caretaker of something ancient, bound to three women who were more than human. A storm hit, unnatural in its fury. The women stood in the fields, unmoved. Mara raised her arms, and the winds calmed. Lila's fire lit the dark. Vay's song soothed the earth. Jake felt their power in his veins. "You're one of us now," Mara said. He helped, his hands steadying the soil. The storm passed, leaving the farm untouched. Jake's fear was gone. He was part of their strength, their magic. The townsfolk whispered about the farm. "Haunted," they said. Jake laughed now, knowing the truth. The women were the land's soul, and he was its voice. Mara planned their harvests, Lila sold the crops, Vay wove their story into songs. Jake bridged their world and the outside. He was no longer the city boy who'd stumbled here. He was theirs, and the farm was his forever. One night, Jake dreamed of the land's heart, a glowing core deep below. The women stood with him, their hands linked. "Your home," they said. He woke to their faces, real and warm. Mara's strength, Lila's fire, Vay's mystery, they were his family. The farm wasn't just land. It was alive, and he was its keeper. He'd never leave. The city was a shadow, the farm his truth. Years passed, or maybe they didn't. Time blurred on the farm. Jake's hair stayed dark, his body strong. The women never aged. "The land keeps us," Mara said. Lila grinned. "You're stuck with us." Vay's smile was soft. "Forever." Jake didn't mind. The farm's hum was his pulse, its fields his breath. He was bound to the women, to the land, in a way he'd never imagined. He was whole. The developer returned, bolder now. Jake met him at the gate. "Not for sale," he said, his voice carrying the land's weight. Mara stood behind him, her shadow vast. Lila's eyes burned. Vay's song hummed in the air. The man fled. Jake felt the farm's approval, a warmth in his chest. "Well done," Mara said. Lila laughed. Vay touched his hand. Jake smiled. This was his place, his purpose. The ritual's bond grew stronger. Jake felt the women's thoughts, their emotions. Mara's resolve, Lila's passion, Vay's calm, they flowed through him. He knew the land's needs, its joys. They worked as one, their harvests feeding thousands. The farm was a secret, a miracle. Jake was its heart, with the women as its soul. He'd chosen this life, or it had chosen him. Either way, he was home. Under a starlit sky, Jake stood with Mara, Lila, and Vay. The fields glowed, alive with the land's pulse. "You're ours," Mara said, her voice soft now. Lila's grin was warm. Vay's eyes shone. Jake nodded. "And you're mine." The farm hummed, binding them. He wasn't just a man anymore. He was part of something eternal, tied to 3 giant women in a land that would never let him go.